We think of this corrosion of conformity song. Um, that I think is called Anthem, or maybe not. I don't, maybe it's not. Anyway, the lyric is "Anthem's broken and I like it." No joke. But it's actually referring to a car that they call the Anthem because it's called the whatever, I don't know.
It's the Homer.
Corrosion of conformity.
All right, we has been tweeted and
Anthem's
everything.
broken.
Man, I got some shit to talk about today.
Okay, I'm recording. We can clap.
I'll even talk about what drove me to push that cancel button.
Cool.
It's some shit. Spoilers. Where'd Jared go? He just took off.
He did kind of just like duck out there.
Man.
I really like the album that song is on is called America's Volume Dealer. It's like
really?
It's
Dude, I haven't listened to those dudes in a long time.
America's Volume Dealer, get it?
All right.
I don't think so. Is that like a music joke?
Volume.
I mean, unless okay.
But haven't you ever heard the phrase America's Volume Dealer? Like a wholesaler of something, you know?
Kind of, but you know what it made me think of was there are like have you ever dipped your toe into the vaporwave scene?
Like I know of it.
They got some weird dudes out there, but they're strangely compelling. Like I've really been interested. There are people who will do things like there's an album out there where they basically took a recording of like kind of the Weather Channel, like the weather scan, the music that they would play when you're up at like 3 a.m. and just kind of like watching the Weather Channel. If you've ever had that sort of experience or just like left the TV on, maybe that's just me. I don't know, but it's just like and sometimes they'll even have like commercials in there. Yeah. Or there's one that's just like mall music from the 90s. Like they actually have a playlist of mall music and they kind of add like a little bit of a beat behind it maybe, or they just do some weird stuff and they might distort it a little bit or make it, I don't know, vaporwavy. And like I kind of would put that on, like put a record of that on, like they sell them on records, and I'd be like, yeah, all right, I'll spin that. Okay. So I don't know. That's only adjacent to the thought that you were bringing up, but it kind of made me think of the same thing where they would make like pop culture references.
There's your verse of that song. I slightly misremembered it, but there you go.
Man, everyone on YouTube was just enjoying that conversation. Whatever you guys were talking about,
it was so good.
That's a song called Diablo Boulevard. If you're curious,
I love Green Day. Okay. I'm ready.
All right. We are ready?
Yep.
For reals?
Ready.
Okay.
For reals.
Clapping on 1, 2, 3.
319. I didn't even I was on my phone.
What?
319.
No, I got it. I got it. Thank you.
Are you Discording on your phone and then
what? Yeah, I can't Discord on my computer because it is the video.
What?
Because he's streaming. So the way that he does our show is he puts his Discord thing full screen and then broadcasts that.
Yeah. So if I do Discord on my computer, it just shows that instead of your beautiful face, Legrand.
Exactly.
What? I'm doing the world a service. Okay.
I am confused.
I get you.
I am confused. I'm sorry.
I get you. I'm with you.
Do you have multiple monitors?
Blonde, brunette, redhead.
You have 3 monitors.
That's Jared.
So why are you using your phone?
So look here. You want to see what happens if I do Discord? Yeah. Watch YouTube right now.
It's gonna take 30 seconds.
Yeah. It does this, and now you can see like all our chats and all this and that.
You're looking under the hood there. I don't like that.
What?
Yeah, just give it a second.
Give it a few seconds.
I'm watching.
There's also the words Game Boy in the lyrics to that song too. So it is gaming.
Really?
Nice.
Dang.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe that's gonna.
Okay,
maybe that's
Jared's
gonna be
saying something.
Oh, turn it off, then. Oh my god.
It's all there. So he can't. So he since he's got the video full screen, like that's the show. You can't do any because it's fine.
All right, let's do this.
Okay.
And so why are you using your phone?
Because that's the only way that he can do something not on the screen that will show his bare ass to the whole world.
I want to share the link or say something to someone, but not on the stream.
Oh, I see. I thought that for some reason you were like talking to us in Discord on your phone.
No. I would just talk.
Yeah.
God damn it, you guys.
We're professionals here, everybody. Stand back.
We've only been doing this for like 8,000 episodes at this point. It's been a while. All right. Hey. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Game by Show podcast. It is December the 5th, 2021. It's Sunday evening. We're all here together. My name's LeGrand. There's Jeremy, Dale, and Jared. Hello, fellers.
Hey.
Howdy.
We're inching ever closer to the Game Bites. I hope everybody's thought about the best games this year.
I haven't, and it's all going to be games from the past 2 weeks.
Online.
Oh, it
Warhammer
is.
40,000 Battle Sector.
If you haven't played any games this year that are this year's games, you can't.
It had an expansion this year.
All right, I'll allow it.
All right, I'll also allow it.
I'm telling you,
reasons.
Warhammer 40,000 Battle Sector. By default.
Dale?
Game of the year.
Okay, that's fine.
Is that game good? What is?
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Be yourselves, but just don't be yourselves so much, you know?
Shut up, Jeremy. Jeremy's game of the year is going to be a Vita game. Yeah. Come on.
Oh, I'm playing some new Vita games this year.
Yeah.
What the
Anthem.
The one new Vita game.
Anthem. I've been doing remote play of Anthem on PlayStation 4. Vita game of the year 2022.
On a base PlayStation 4, so load times are like 8 minutes.
On a base PlayStation 2, more like
super based. It's so good. We're all loving life here. That's
based, like when you put it on the turkey while it's cooking, or
you baste it.
Based.
How do you spell based?
That was my favorite band growing up. Ace of Based.
Ace of Based.
Ace of Basting turkey.
You know what? I played that at Thanksgiving a couple weeks ago.
I saw the sign.
When Jared goes to the beach, he has to baste his head with sunblock every few minutes.
Dude, I actually put on sunscreen. My lotion that I use after I shave has sunscreen. I put it on every day.
He wears a swim cap.
Yeah, you could just wear a hat, dude.
I do wear a hat.
More aerodynamic.
I wear sunscreen and a hat every day because look at
you know what?
It's so cancery.
I feel you. I hate going out in the sun. That's why I don't have an outdoor podcast. I have a sit in the dark, like staring beady-eyed at a screen that I hold up in front of my face.
Can you imagine doing a podcast?
Sit in the dark.
Yeah.
Like what if we all sat in our backyard to do a podcast?
That'd be awesome. Let's do it.
Instead of
let's do it, y'all.
Or wherever we are.
I'm gonna do one hiding under my bed. This is making me feel agoraphobic.
I'm just gonna sit in the dark like this. Oh,
I can turn off my lights.
There we go.
Intense.
But I'm not gonna.
After hours.
I'm
not either.
I've spent all this time trying to get like this beautiful face well lit. I'm not gonna ruin it now.
Yeah, my daughter
special content for
my
those
ring light. I had a ring light, and my daughter took it over because she wants to record her YouTube videos.
You know what? Honestly, it's probably being put to better use there. There's more good is being done in the world.
Her YouTube videos are, they're 10 out of 10.
They're on point, right?
And since I turned my desk yet again, because that's what I do around here, the light is now right.
My favorite are the ones where she's like, and the cat's a cat again. It's just like a cat. And you're like, awesome. I love it.
Yeah, she's funny.
Great.
Is she doing TikToks or YouTubes or what?
She does YouTube Shorts, which is like YouTube's version of TikTok.
Yeah.
And then regular YouTube stuff.
Maybe we should get into that. Like, it'll be us just doing like some 90s.
We could do shorts
lyrics.
No.
And then
I saw the sign.
There you go.
You do the Ultima Online TikTok channel.
You know what? I tell you what. If you start an Ultima Online YouTube Shorts channel, I will promote it every single day on every social media channel I have available.
Nothing is short about Ultima Online.
Guys,
that's true.
He already did.
Mandrake Mondays, his next song is gotta be like repurposed lyrics from an Ace of Base. Okay, we're doing it. We have to do it. Okay.
All right.
Tomorrow night.
You heard it here.
Cranberries instead.
Mandrake Labad. Cranberries.
Because it's all in your head.
It is all in my head.
In your head.
Well, why don't you just get it over with?
There are zombies in the game. Okay, let's talk about it.
Go ahead.
Hey, Yule Outlands update. So, for the one guy who wants to hear it, who doesn't actually want to hear it. He just likes to annoy Legrand.
No, it's good.
The word is out. Today was a very cool day. We actually did a spontaneous stream here on the channel. So if you follow us here on YouTube, you're welcome.
You know what? You get a little bit older. The stream starts coming spontaneously. You just
it just kind of dribbles out when you don't plan. You sneeze and the stream comes out. Anyway, we had our 4th tournament of virtue, the Tournament of Valor. A very good virtue. The mantra is the color is red. No, but this is the first one. We actually had support from the staff on this one. So they went through, and the area we picked to do the tournament was like a player town. And they made it like a dueling pit, and they decorated it with like the Valor runes and stuff. It looks really cool. I gave my little commencement speech, and at the end, all yell huzzah, like we're all excited, and the staff member shot off like fireworks in the air. It was so cool. I was like, oh,
that is great. That's actually genuinely cool that they would do that for you.
It was awesome. So
we staff members, as in Ultima Online Outlands people.
Yeah, they're all staff.
They're all into it.
Did they find out that you're like the largest group of nerds on their server, or what's the
dude? I'm even the largest group of nerds. We're a very small group of nerds, man.
Really, there's more.
Oh my god!
The whole server is just one big group of nerds. Okay.
The best part is
kind of where.
So when I played Ultima back a million years ago, when it first came out, like 1998-ish, right? Everyone was like, "Oh, I gotta go, guys. My mom says I have to get off the computer." Everyone was like that, right? Now it's like, "Hey guys, I gotta go. I gotta go cook dinner for the kids." It's all the same people. They're just all now in their late 30s.
Yeah.
It's like the life cycle. Right. Like soon it's gonna be all right, guys.
Literally,
I gotta go. I'm ready to die now.
So anyway, it was a fun event. There is the full stream out there. It was 2 hours, kind of lengthy. I'll do like I've done in the past, kind of a fast forwarded version, super speed version, here in a few days. So keep your eyes out for that. It was a lot of fun. Y'all should get in on this. It's a good time. Okay.
I haven't finished all the other Ultima games though. So
Dude,
you're gonna.
Yeah,
you're not gonna.
I haven't played
story.
Inlands yet. I can't play Outlands.
It's true.
Yeah.
You don't have a baseline for it.
No.
So I actually have a new game I want to talk about post our Outlands update for the week. Is we actually talked about it last week. If you guys recall, in our new releases section, the game War Tales, which came out in early access this week on Steam, and I picked it up. So
all right.
So War Tales is the game I couldn't remember last week, Battle Brothers. I don't know if anyone has played that, but it is a kind of a
tactical game.
It's like a tactical turn-based strategy game with like an overland map that you kind of manage a party, like a war party, right? Like a
squad of dudes.
Shots.
Yeah, exactly.
So is it more like XCOM or more like Rainbow Six turn-based?
Not Rainbow Six, more like XCOM. Yeah, more like XCOM. So you know what game it's actually a lot like is the Banner Saga. Did anyone play that?
Yeah, I did.
So Banner Saga, you just kind of progress kind of left to right. This one's open world on top of it, but the combat is very similar to that, right? So it's turn-based, small squad. Ultima 7. I have played Ultima 7, Pinky Outlands. Thank you. I actually
Ultima 7 is awesome.
We're getting comments from chat. How rare does that happen? It's kind of weird. I actually don't like it. Let's turn those off. I played the version where you could like rotate it. It was real weird. Anyway, so War Tales is tactical turn-based. So you have small squads, and you have to it's like almost a survival game in a way. You have there's like food. You have to pay. You're like a mercenary company. It's like fantasy, medieval kind of time frame. And so you're like going around. You're trying to scrounge up jobs. Combat is really kind of tough and brutal. You lose health really easily. To repair your armor, to protect your health, costs materials that are hard to get. And it really seems to be going for that kind of really gray world kind of approach. So it has a focus on storytelling, war tales. So each kind of scenario, if you will, has like a story that you have to fulfill. But it's all open world, so you can kind of do it the way you want, and you have like objectives to fulfill this story. So like the first one you start off with is in this area where there's like refugees kind of flooding in, a little on point. But so the area, the like authorities and locals don't like the refugees. They don't trust them. They don't want them around. They think they're going to ruin it. And of course, the refugees are just trying to survive. And so you're kind of part of that, mixed up in it. And so you get to undergo missions, which you pick up randomly. And suddenly it's like, oh, do you help them or do you not? So the refugees don't have food. They're starving too. But they have this like makeshift lumber camp. So if you help the refugees, you can get a lot of wood. I mean, like a lot of wood, which you can use to make supplies and repair your armor, things like that, right? But if you help the authorities, they're going to feed you. So I actually wound up in a scenario where I really wanted to help the refugees because that's like the good thing to do, right? Like that's more.
But you're hungry.
But I'm literally starving, and game over if I starve, right? You starve, you die, game over. So I'm like, so I helped the authorities, and we attacked the refugees in their lumber camp. Like, it didn't feel good. None of the choices really felt good, but I don't know. It's a really cool game. It's by
So is it going for like a low fantasy sort of thing, or is there like magic?
Or is it... So it actually might not be fantasy at all. It just might be kind of like a otherworld historical, because I haven't seen any magic or anything of that sort. So I'm only like an hour or two in, still in the first scenario. I'm about 40% done, 50% done with the first scenario. It kind of keeps track as you not complete objectives, but as you complete various objectives, it seems to me like there's probably like 20 things to do in a scenario, and once you complete like 8, you've completed the scenario. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so like
it opens some doors or closes others.
Yeah, you can kind of piece it together as you go. So it's really interesting. It really focuses on that choice, telling that story that you've built, kind of step by step. But I could see where it could be different each time. So I'm really curious to see how it plays out and keep at it. It's a beautiful game.
Is there a critical path narrative? I mean, is there like a broad overarching story, or does it just not work that way narratively?
I don't think so. But if there is, I haven't found it. There's not like a main quest and side quests.
Right. Okay.
Like you get dumped into this world and there you are.
Right.
And what's interesting is like I found a town. I actually watched before I bought it, I watched someone on YouTube play it for about 30 minutes. And it's kind of funny. Their playthrough really took a different turn because they didn't find the initial town. Like they turned south before they found the first town. And so it was totally different kind of their approach to the game.
Huh.
Whereas I found this village, picked up a random, like off a bulletin board mission to go take out some bandits harassing local citizens kind of thing, right? And so I go to do that, and I do it. But when I was looking for these guys, I came across a thing, and I'm like, oh, Haven or whatever. Like, that sounds like where they might be. So I went into it, and they're like, these guys were going to attack me. They're like, get out of here or we'll kill you. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I left because they looked really strong. And so then I keep searching. I find the bandits I'm looking for. I go collect the quest, and then the contract. And then when I do that, a messenger like approaches my party and says, "Hey, this like refugee leader wants to talk to you." And it was the leader of that initial group that I found that was going to attack me outright. So like if I had the strength, I could have attacked them and taken out that refugee group leader even before it like initiated like, "Hey, come talk to us." But then when I went back, they weren't hostile anymore. They wanted to talk to me. So it really interesting the
So
way
everything kind of interlocks together as
Yeah.
Is it
so-
smart enough to keep that up like throughout the whole game? That's the question.
That's
right?
the question. So I'm only a couple hours in. And it's still early access. So let me keep chipping away at it, and we'll see.
How much
where
does it
goes.
Cost? What's the?
It's
price?
40. It's
30?
pretty good.
On sale, I think. right
Oh
now,
yeah, I
right?
think it's like
So-
32 or something for its new release.
Hmm.
It's by I think Shiro Games, who also made Northgard, which is a strategy game I
yeah.
love. So it looks really cool. I think if I can find the time, maybe this week we'll throw it up on stream for a little bit. It's gonna be super spoilery or whatever, but
It's
we'll
all
just jump in.
spoilers.
Yeah, whatever. I
Spoilers
mean,
all the way
life
down.
life is one big spoiler, y'all. So
It's true.
anyway, yeah, War Tales, really cool little game, out in early access on Steam. If you're into that, if you loved Battle Brothers, you probably want to check it out.
What if I loved Battleborn?
No, nobody loved
Then
that.
you're out of luck, like me.
What if I
We'll
loved
go.
Bastard Bonds?
Like junk
No.
bonds? Like I don't
Nobody
understand.
played that?
I
Nobody
know.
else played that
No.
game?
Mm-mm. I think you made it up.
Is that
Look it
some
up,
kind of
it sounds
Warhammer?
familiar.
I'll tell you what I did play this week. First, I've got a
Nice.
story.
Ooh,
First, I've got a
story
So
time
Battlefield
with Uncle
2042, we
LeGrand.
talked about this a couple of weeks ago. And I hadn't played for a while because I was prepping for Endwalker, Final Fantasy XIV's expansion that came out on Friday. And they've been releasing patches for Battlefield. Like they've released like 2 or 3 patches, like to fix stuff that was just broken with the game. So I fire up the game today because I don't know, fire up Battlefield, right? So I fire it up and I get into a round and my mouse does not work moving left to right. I can look up and down, but can't turn left to right with my mouse.
Wasn't there something like that originally? Like you mentioned, there was some kind of weird mouse clicky thing, like it just wouldn't register sometimes.
Yeah, I lost the total control of everything. Then would come back. But I loaded into a game and I could move forward, I could move back, I could strafe, I could look up and down with my mouse, but I could not look to the left or right with my mouse.
You know, I
Which
actually think that would
It's
be
a
a
pretty
cool game
critical
mode.
part of a shooter in most cases.
I think if it happened to everybody at the same time, like I actually think that would be really.
It's
cool.
called console mode, and so every time you move your mouse, it's actually just like whoa,
You know,
like
LeGrand,
really imprecise.
If you are playing Doom at a 90-degree angle, then you don't need to be able to look left and right.
You can't even turn though. I couldn't turn. I was always perpetually facing one direction. So I could strafe around, but I was always facing north, for example. And I couldn't do anything about
Nice.
it. Anyway, so I was like, okay. So I look it up and it's a known issue. A known issue that I don't want to swear, but your goddamn first person shooter, you can't be a first person in it. You can't you can't aim. Like it was ridiculous. It was like, how does this even happen for a series that's been around
Huge.
longer than Halo? It's been around, forever, since 2003, 2002. You can't. The core first person shooter mechanic just doesn't function.
They got the interns working.
So there is a workaround, and it is relatively simple. But every single time I load up Battlefield, it's something else that's just stupid and broken and ridiculous, or all of the above. And I'm done. I'm done with it, man.
I was gonna
For
say,
now.
is it fun enough to keep going back? Because like
Nope.
I would already been out by now.
I'm out. And that's the thing. I hadn't been back to it for like 2 weeks. Like
Really?
I'd shelved it because I was playing other things. And so I fired it up like, hey, I'll get back into Battlefield. And yeah, they've released a bunch of patches. It's probably better, right? First game I load into and I can't even aim. Like ridiculous. So
Crazy.
anyway, I canceled my EA Play subscription, which is what I had gotten. So to play this game.
What's funny
I'm done.
is he literally did it as we started this podcast.
While we were, yeah.
he was
I
like
did.
telling us his credit card number and everything.
Well, I'm talking like this was like an hour ago that I tried to play this game. Anyway, the game I did play a lot of was Final Fantasy XIV's newest expansion, Endwalker,
Ooh.
which
All
came
right.
out last Friday at 2 a.m. in the morning Mountain Time. Now, this is a game that people have been waiting for, but for me, I kind of had a different experience with Endwalker. So, with Final Fantasy XIV in general, I picked up the game again in like February of this year, and I've been playing virtually nonstop since then. Played up through the main Realm Reborn, Heaven's Ward, Stormblood, Shadowbringers, got to the end game content, leveled some extra jobs. But by the time I got done with Shadowbringers, like I didn't even finish everything I wanted to do in the end game of Shadowbringers. Endwalker was right around the corner, right? Meanwhile, the diehard Final Fantasy people have been waiting for a year, 2 years for this thing, right? So it's been like 2.5 years since Shadowbringers came out. So for me, it was like just rolling. The game just kept on going. Right now, there's a new expansion out, and it was kind of my experience was probably different from somebody who never stopped playing Final Fantasy, right? Which is a lot of people in our free company. But so anyway, the game came out at 2 a.m. and there was all these talks because basically Square Enix came out a few days before and we're like, hey, we are apologizing beforehand because the servers are going to be congested as hell. We couldn't open up new servers because the hardware shortage, the thing that everybody's dealing with right now. We couldn't get new servers in, so we couldn't get new servers on board. Everyone has jumped ship from World of Warcraft. We've seen tons of new players come back and play. And sorry, not sorry. We're sorry, but it's going to be crazy on launch day. It's like, okay. And so everyone on Reddit and everyone in the forums and on Discord is like, okay, it's going to be crazy, guys. Expect 5,000 people queues and you're going to be queued for hours. I'm like, oh shit. Like, okay, well, I took the day off on Friday to play this game, right? So I better get my time's worth. And so I'm like, well, I'm not going to be up at 2. I'm going to go to bed a little bit early and I'm going to wake up and I'm going to play all day long. I took the day off from work. And so I got up, I woke up at 6 because my body is tuned to get up at 6 o'clock for whatever stupid reason on my day off. And I get up and I'm like, well, I'm going to go get in the queue and then I'll see what it's at. And I will come back in a couple hours or however long it takes me to get through the queue at 6 o'clock and then I'll play. And so I got down, logged on my computer, 6 o'clock Friday morning and like 10 people in queue. And I got right into the game. I'm like, oh shit.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And so instead of like going back to bed, I just stayed up, right? And played. I was logged in from 6 o'clock in the morning until 2:30 in the afternoon when I had to get up and get ready to go to a wedding. That was what I also had planned on Friday. Anyway, so I played quite a bit that morning. And for me, since my experience was so different, where I haven't been waiting for a year or two or a year and a half or months and months and months for Endwalker. For me, it felt like I was just going into another bunch of content in Final Fantasy, right? And what that translates to is, well, the rest of Final Fantasy is very good, and spoilers, Endwalker is also more very good story content for Final Fantasy, the story, right? So it all kind of ties together, and supposedly Endwalker is the end of the story arc that began with the Final Fantasy XIV's original release into Realm Reborn, has kind of been going throughout all the expansions. This is like the finale of this whole storyline that's been going on for 13 years or whatever. Supposedly,
is there going to be a Final Fantasy 15 after this?
Maybe they might come out with Final Fantasy 15.
Final Fantasy
cars.
14 too.
Yeah. Anyway, so I did. So I started the main story quest. Started going through that. It's structured very similar to the way that Shadowbringers is structured. There's like a lot of intro, quest lines that kind of just set up the story and the setting and kind of what's going on and some of the key players. And then, just more Final Fantasy 14, which is great. I also picked up the new Sage class, which is a healer class that came out with Endwalker. You have to be level 70, which is start of Shadowbringers, so end of Stormblood. You have to be at that level and have Endwalker to be able to play the Sage. They released 2 new classes with Endwalker, the Sage, which is a healer class. It's actually pretty fun. The class heals by doing damage to the enemy. So you actually, target and cast a spell on like your tank in like a group setting. And whenever you do damage to the enemies, he gets healed. So that's kind of the way that this class works. He also has shields and some other stuff. So pretty fun class because you're also, and just like every other Final Fantasy healer in Final Fantasy 14, like you need to do damage as well. You're expected to also contribute to the DPS as well as keep everyone alive. So this class makes it easy because you heal by doing damage, which is fun. They also released the Reaper, which is a melee-based DPS class, and I haven't played that yet. But it's pretty funny because since everyone is playing these brand new classes, and since those classes actually don't start at Endwalker content level, they start at Shadowbringers content level. You have to play them for 10 levels. So whenever you're doing like random dungeons and stuff like that, the dungeon queues that kind of level up your character, you get into these dungeons with all Reapers,
everybody's
a couple Sages, everyone's the new Reapers, and then a couple tanks, which are just still doing their thing.
Out of curiosity, here's a simple question: what are the weapons? Because you change classes in Final Fantasy 14 by just equipping a different weapon. What are the weapon types? Like, is it like a pair of scissors now, or what? What is it that makes you?
Well, the Reaper has like a scythe, like death, right? So big old bill
okay.
scythe thing.
Yeah.
And the sage has a weapon. I actually looked it up, so I couldn't remember what it's called. It's called a newlith, which it's like these 4 little floaty like magic things that float around
Things.
you and shoot damage. It's kind of hard to explain it. You have to look it up, but
All right.
they're like little laser beams and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. But it's been kind of fun because we got into these like the first day when I was playing that whole morning, like I was running dungeons and just trying to figure out how to heal and how to play the class. And it's pretty funny because nobody knows what they're doing as this new healer, right? So we were like having problems, and I'd get into these raid encounters and with like 7 other players, and you got 4 reapers, 5 reapers, 2 tanks, and then 2 sages effectively that have no idea what they're doing, right? So they're all looking down at their hotbars, they're all trying to figure out their rotations, missing mechanics, and everyone's dying. And so it's been a pretty cool thing. But Final Fantasy 14, this is actually, I believe, in our news or maybe in our speed run a little bit later. It's in our speed run, but they since the game came out. So my experience when the launch came out, I played nonstop for probably 8 hours. A couple little breaks here and there, but I stayed logged in, right? Because I didn't want to log out and have to see whatever queue there was. Well, that evening, man, the queue was 3,000 people deep and took me 2 hours to get in. And so the game has been very congested at peak times. If you get up in the morning and play in the early morning, like nobody's playing. But if you want to get on right now to play Final Fantasy 14, you're going to be waiting for a couple hours just to get into the game, which is a little insane.
Even for my level where I'm doing like MSQ stuff for
doesn't matter
right after a Realm Reborn.
Yeah, it's the login servers themselves that are congested. So so you get into the login server queue, which is the login server for the world. So since it's all
like a month ago, I remember saying that when I'd go to log in, it would say that there's like they had to wait for like 30 people. I was like 30th in the queue or whatever. Always.
That's like average pre this expansion. That's like I had to wait for as well. It was about that.
Yeah.
But now we're talking like 3,000, and it's people who don't want to log off, right? Because they know if they log off, they're going to be in a queue again. It's the same thing that New World experienced. The difference is that Square Enix came out, Yoshi P came out and said beforehand, like, hey guys, just so you know, we don't have servers. We couldn't get any more in. So it's going to be crazy, right? Yeah. And then actually a couple days ago, they came out again and sent a letter out to everybody that said, hey, we know there's been problems, but guess what? We're going to give everybody free 7 days of game time. We're sorry it's bad. We're doing everything we can. Hopefully, please log out if you're not playing. Don't do things. Don't be an asshole, that type of stuff. And so it's really kind of refreshing where there's like a whole article just explaining all the technical reasons why things are the way that they are and why there's a queue and stuff like that. And it's kind of refreshing where, you get Battlefield 2042 with all the freaking, and this is the contrast of that game, right? All the problems that they had, and the communication with the public has been like, oh yeah, haha, whatever, we're working on it, eat shit, you bought our game. Like that's like the mentality of a lot of these AAA studios, like, the Anthem guys, and eventually they have to pay the piper, right? Like they know that stuff's broken. Like Anthem was broken, Cyberpunk was broken. Like there was problems with these games, but the original mentality of other studios is a mentality of like, well, what do you want from us? Meanwhile, Square Enix is like, hey, yeah, here's the list of all the things. Yes, we know. We gave you a warning a week beforehand. The thing is going to be a little bit slower, and we're sorry. We're going to give you a free game time. And World of Warcraft used to do that all the time back in the day. Their servers would go down for a day, and they would comp you a couple days of game time. Like that happened all the time, but that doesn't happen very often.
I think part of that is the nature of because there will be an immediate financial impact if they make their user base mad. You'll unsubscribe. With something like Battlefield, it's like, well, you already bought it.
I unsubscribed to EA Play today because their shit's broke.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
And but if they would have been more forthcoming with like, hey. And maybe I haven't been as in tune to the communications around Battlefield. Maybe they have been like that. But my feeling about EA in general, about Activision Blizzard, and about these other companies, and to the point where, you didn't feel that way about CD Projekt Red until Cyberpunk came out and they were just cocky about it and it was bad and broken in a lot of ways. And until they actually realized like, oh shit, yeah, people really are pissed. That's when they finally, broke down and did what they had to do, gave the refunds and the whole thing that happened, right? But Square Enix is kind of, and it always has been this way, at least from when I've been playing, is they've been very upfront and communicative with their people. Like when Yoshi P had to postpone the game by 2 weeks. That was a very that was very upfront and open and honest about the state of the game, which was refreshing. And you don't see that a lot in these AAA studios to this degree, it seems like, because again, it's all about it's like, honestly, a small percentage of people are experiencing problems and they're the vocal minority, right?
Yeah.
And that's usually the case in a lot of these things. And so a lot of studios are like, yeah, well, screw them. Like, how much of our player base is actually on Reddit all day complaining about this stuff? Like, not a lot. It's probably the same with Battlefield. And that's probably why the mentality is different.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So anyway, Endwalker is really good. It's more Final Fantasy, and I mean, there's nothing to complain about that. I can't really say much new about it. It's just more story, which is the highlight of Final Fantasy 14. Like, the combat's good, the classes are fun, but the story itself is the highlight, and this is just more of that. So nothing to complain about. I just wish I could play like at nighttime, but I do play video games quite often in the morning, so I'll wake up and come play video games for an hour or so before work, and that's probably what I'll end up doing tomorrow morning. So get my Endwalker in. But anyway, that's what I've been playing this week. Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker, game of the year, probably. Spoiler.
Very nice. Very
Yep.
nice.
Cool.
So tell us about this game, Jeremy, because I actually installed this. I was almost fired this up today when Battlefield was broken.
Here's the difficult thing about this. Every once in a while, you'll bring a game, or somebody will bring a game. One of us will bring a game, and you have to kind of tiptoe around it a little bit because you don't necessarily want to spoil the experience for someone. And I think fundamentally, the game that I'm bringing this week is called Unpacking. And the first time I ever heard of it was a meme kind of jokey thing that I shared in the Discord about, millennials not knowing what a GameCube is. And, it's just kind of funny. Yeah. So this is on Game Pass. And the thing that's a little bit difficult about this is that you kind of know maybe what you're in for. But the more that you talk about it, the more that it just kind of spoils the experience, maybe. So I do feel a little guilty about this, but I might be explaining something to you that will kind of make it so you don't need to play it. But it is kind of a profound but simple little game. The premise of Unpacking is that you are you're set in an isometric, pixelated version of various rooms, and you are presented with some cardboard boxes. And every time you click on a cardboard box, some random household personal effect comes out, and you just have to place it somewhere in the environment. You're unpacking, just like you've done in real life, various things from somebody's life.
My favorite part of life is
right. So that's one thing about this, is that it's kind of fundamentally based on doing this chore that is kind of not super enjoyable. But it does have a little bit of that Tetris sort of like I'm gonna make things good out of like a messy sort of thing. But then sometimes you're just like, I'm just gonna throw this anywhere that it'll fit. It's not so much a toy because there are some rules, but once you have unpacked the boxes, so it's basically about space management. You've got different kinds of surfaces, and they're all the kinds of things like in a dorm room or something. You might have a little desk. You'll put out a CRT monitor on it. That's going to take a bunch of space. You might have things that are hangable. That might include posters, photos, things like that. You might have clothing. Some shirts, you can hang on a hanger if you wish, or if you put them on a flat surface, it'll fold them up, neatly. So you do have some autonomy about where these things are going. But you are kind of managing space. And you can put things kind of willy-nilly wherever you like, but there is a generally acceptable natural spot for something to go. So, for example, and the character that you... I don't even, are you playing as a character? You're unpacking someone, but you're unpacking this person's life. And this person is a woman, so you are getting a lot of like bras and stuff. And, I don't know what to do with a bra. But you can kind of credibly find an underwear drawer or something like that. And it'll put them in a, it animates the little thing so it kind of folds up nice or whatever. There's no animation to speak of. It's mostly just like, it's like playing solitaire or something, right? You like click on the object and put it where it goes, and it kind of credibly folds it or puts it where it needs to be. But there's a generally acceptable place for underpants to go, or panties, I guess, whatever women call their things. And there's a place for, toothpaste. Which, Jared, wait, that tickled Jared's funny bone. There's a place for toothpaste, or there's a place for
It's
know
the
dish
same
soap.
place, obviously.
Yeah, right. So as a man,
Throw all
like
the
this
crap
is
in a
like no
box.
problem. That's right. I'm just like blah, 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 like it all goes. But the game, like a dictator, tells me that it's just not gonna fly. By the end of the unpacking,
Monsters.
I know. It will sort of tell you, well, you've got some stuff that's out of place. So you got to go back and figure out, okay, I guess I can't put books on the floor in the middle of the floor. I guess, I got to kind of organize these things. And that's what allows you to progress to the next level. The metagame, I don't know what you call it the metagame, but the broader arc is that you are following this young woman through sort of various stages of her life, and it's kind of interesting to see. And the first level is like a college door. Or no, the first level's like a childhood bedroom. And the kind of subtitle before you start is "Yay, I got my own room" or something like that. So there's a lot of toys there and childhood effects and things like that. The second level is a dorm room, and so you have different kind of space, different kind. You have a sort of a cot instead of well, not a cot, but like a single person bed instead of a bunk bed or whatever. And it's interesting and kind of a little bit touching to see how some of her items kind of come along with. For example, one of the main things is a stuffed pig that was her childhood stuffed pig, and it comes along through all these levels, and it becomes the inspiration for you learn about her as a character. You learn the kinds of things she likes. Kind of some nerd movies, and drawing is a big thing for her, and cosplay and stuff like that. And so as you move from one stage of the game and one stage of her life to another, you're sort of progressing through the, kind of the natural stages of someone going from childhood to young adulthood to, 20-something, 30-something. You'll find that the kinds of things that are in the house are different. There's a lot more like, medication, so it's like suddenly now there's Tums, you got to put some antacids somewhere, like, okay, now we're in our early 30s or something like that, and eventually there are roommates and other people in her life, and it kind of tells this really interesting story, and it's all done just by virtue of looking through her stuff and putting it where it goes. And there's even a story to tell about, when you move in with a roommate, for example, like there's less space for you. Like you've got to kind of mix your things in with someone else, and there's kind of a story to that. And there is even sort of a climax in the game, and I won't go into that, but there's a point at which it gets really difficult to find places to put things, and you're sort of like, okay, where's my life? That kind of thing.
Did you finish the game?
I didn't get all the way to the end, but I do know I got almost I got quite a way through it, but it's just kind of interesting how something like this, through the induction, narrative induction of just putting someone's stuff, taking them out of boxes and moving them into the different stages of her life. It's kind of like touching and a little bit profound, and it kind of makes you reflective a little bit on the arc of humans in general, like your own life and stuff like that.
Try something.
And I think it's going to break it. I think it's a bad idea. All right, Jared, heads up, I guess. We're going to see what
I hate it
happens here.
already. What are you doing,
Yeah,
you monster?
I'm unpacking. Relax.
Yeah. Well, so here.
So this kind of not like gameplay wise, but just makes me think about games like Her Story and like games like that, where it just kind of what was that old man's journey or something we played on stream? It just like unpacks someone's life a little bit, kind of bit by bit as you play through. It's almost deserving of its own genre. It's really interesting. I really love games like that because they just
have Gone Home.
Yeah, exactly.
Very broadly, it kind of fits into that indie scene where it's like we're going to do something clever with narrative, storytelling.
Yeah,
and what have you.
I'm going to tell you a story about a person and about their life and what's going on in it, but you have to figure out all of the details as you play through the game. Is kind of the genre. That's a really cool genre name. Legrand, this experiment has failed.
No, it hasn't. I'm having a great time.
All right, I'm turning the stream off there. Anyhow, that's pretty much all there is to say about it. But and I don't think it'll necessarily make it any less impactful for you. Again, this is on Game Pass, so you can dig into it like Legrand did. Just check it out for nothing. And you'll sort of get the idea, but maybe you'll still find it worthwhile to kind of have that experience. I mean, eventually, I guess I didn't mention, but eventually it's not just a single room, but you end up in a, like an apartment or something where you've got like a bathroom and some stuff is packed in the wrong boxes and
Gross.
you've got to kind of decide, stuff like that where it's like, okay, I've got my toiletries I got to deal with. I've got my cleaning supplies. I've got my dishes. I've got whatever. They don't all go in my bedroom, that sort of thing. So you can kind of toggle back and forth to those things. But all of those little things kind of tell just a tiny little piece of someone's story. And
No, they probably don't. It's probably just about purely unpacking physical goods, I think.
probably that
Literally.
I could be overthinking it too
Oh,
much.
a Game Boy. I found a Game Boy.
Yeah, exactly. So you find the things and then she takes them with her through her life and then her priorities change. And it just, again, it kind of makes you reflect a little bit on the own,
And then
the path that your own life
Is there ever a virtual boy?
Oh, no,
Ooh.
she is not, definitely not that elite. She's not Jeremy grade. Now, if it was my stuff that you were unpacking, everybody watch out. There's going to be so much pointless baloney. But there you go. Unpacking, the aesthetic, like you saw, is kind of that Pixel Town. I don't know how to describe it, but you kind of get the idea. And the music is kind of fun and chill, and it's just kind of relaxing to do it. But kind of like Jared pointed out at the very beginning, like
My wife would like this game, I think.
it's a chore. She might, and it could be one of those things that if you're the sort of person who likes to make neat things out of a mess, I would say try this out. But it's I don't know if I'd call it like a lot of fun, but it's a sort of unique. little
Honestly,
experience.
if you're taking things out of a box and placing them all over the place, aren't you creating a mess?
you could be doing that, but
Well,
you
you
won't.
have to unpack though, because you need to have your stuff.
Do you?
Yeah. Oh, you need it.
Oh,
Maybe
a
you just-
Tamagotchi. I
Maybe
found
you
a
just need to
Tamagotchi.
throw it all away.
That's
Yeah,
one
maybe
option.
if you're a proponent of chaos, maybe you want to unpack
Oh,
your stuff.
dude.
Maybe
but,
eat it and deal with the medical bills.
Maybe you should donate it. or
Maybe you should tell us what
Oh.
you're playing, Dale.
something. Well, Jeremy, thanks for unpacking that for us. I've been
No
playing
problem.
Fall Guys, the ultimate knockout. Is that
Oh
the-
yeah, the 1970s stuntman. That's right.
I'm the unknown stuntman that makes Eastwood look so fine. Fall Guys, yeah, where you play a bean in a colorful jumpsuit, and you're one of 60 running through these demented death games, and only one can win in the end. It's pretty fun. It's like pure platforming goodness, in an obstacle course, or obbies as they call them these days.
Is
It
that
is-
right?
it
I
is
didn't
an-
know that.
It is an obby game. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's Jeremy, if you knew anything about Roblox, you would
Oh
know
my gosh.
that obbies
Whoa.
are the major hotness there.
Coming around
This
full
is
circle.
basically obby, the non-Roblox game, and it is of course reminiscent of like Japanese game shows, or even
Takeshi's
Nickelodeon game
Castle.
shows, or even
Wipeout.
bits of American Gladiators, or Gladiators as it's known in other countries. Yeah, where everything is that sort of like bouncy house, canvasy, padded, colorful, improbably large, weirdly constructed, sort of Rube Goldbergian, except people are running across it. Everything is one of those, like, and not only that, but they're like all suspended in like an infinite air volume, kind of like those levels in Super Mario Sunshine that were like playing on the actual old school
Like the-
Mario
Yeah.
platforming,
Like the
but they
wood
were, like,
blocks and stuff.
floating in. They were like floating in the middle of space, and you sort of played them as you would a 2D Mario game, but you could also they were also in 3D. It was a weird sort of like,
It was like they took you out of the game to like be okay, straight up here. We're just gonna do some.
yeah. But anyway, but yeah, it's like just the whole thing of like this abstract, colorful game show, and it is pitched as a game show. Fall Guys, it has this like game show framing device, right? Like, because when you're back at the main menu, where you can of course change all your aesthetic items, your costuming, your UI, your dances that you
Special
can do.
suits.
Yeah, special suits. Like I started with a crocodile suit that is 2 components, so you can have just the crocodile bottom or the crocodile head. Or you can pattern your guy with different shaders, as they call them in Destiny. I'm assuming that everything Destiny also applies to Fall Guys. So shaders, you get new shaders as you go through the Fortnite like uh, season progression thing. So every time you play a round, you get like kudos is one of the currencies. There's like 4 currencies, and it's extremely like um what's the word? In-app purchase, like game
Oh yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like to the nines, right? It's like majorly into all that stuff. But it's not a free to play game. It was $20 on Steam. But
No.
that said, it is very fun. And my kids are also enjoying it.
Cool.
There you go. That's what I was waiting for. I was
That's
waiting
really
for
the
you to say
reason. Like they didn't ask for it or anything, but I was watching a video and it came up, and I was like, oh yeah, that looks fun, and the kids would definitely like that. So I'll just go ahead and it's only $20 or whatever, and I'll play it for a few hours, they'll play it for a few hours, and that'll be that, right? Like that's well worth it, right? So
Yeah.
and indeed that also gave me something to talk about on the show tonight. So um so far, I've gotten to the 3rd round of a game, which I'm not sure how many rounds they typically go. Do you know? 5?
I mean, it's gonna be 4 or
5?
5, but partly it depends on how fast people are eliminated too. Because it depends on the games. Because some games are,
Yeah.
it'll go down to like a certain amount. Some games are based on a timer, how many people actually kind of get through in a
Yeah.
certain time.
It does seem to vary on what the games are. Now we've just begun season 6. And so I understand that the games that I've been playing are new with season 6.
Yes, so the new season is called Pipe Dreams. So a lot of the
Mm.
levels, so they'll swap out the levels, sort of Fortnite style every, I don't know, month, couple months, something like that.
Yeah.
And this one is all about like water flumes and shooting people out of tubes and things like that. Have you found that to be
Been
I have
been
not
doing a
actually
lot of
logged
that.
in for this. Yeah.
I've played I think 4, maybe 5 discrete maps. There's this one that like every time I jump into a round, it seems to be like probably 80% of the time it's the same one that's called I forget what it's called, but it's like these like not spherical, circular teeter-totter sorts of things that so like when everybody jumps on it, it starts to tilt to that side. And so you
Oh
gotta like
yeah,
run
Mhm.
like a
uphill to the other
seesaw.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then the next level that I've been to a couple of times is one with a lot of like pneumatic tubes that you jump in, and it takes you over to a bunch of places, and like there's water balloon cannons that shoot at you and all this other stuff. And then the third one that I can recall, I think there's maybe been 4 that I played on, but the third one that I'm thinking of right now is one where the challenge is actually to stay um I don't want to say up in the air exactly, but there's a score zone, in a vertical band of the area of the arena, and your challenge is to stay within the score zone without falling down through, right? And you get points
Right.
based on how much time you're in the score zone.
Yeah.
And the way to stay there is by like bouncing between these like floating trampoline sort of platforms, or you can make it onto one of the contraptions that is various ways trying to knock you off of it down to the part where you get collected and then respawn. Um, and yeah,
They just have a
anyway,
lot of clever little ways to eliminate you from competition like that. I think they've done a
yeah.
really good job coming up with. I mean, it's almost like a Little Big Planet style. They're throwing ideas at the wall to see what sticks, and then they've kind of been
It's all
refining it ever since
wacky,
the game came out.
crazy. It's the
Yeah.
kind of thing that you look at and you're going, "Oh, I wanna try that." It kinda reminds me of, like, Super Monkey Ball way back in the day, you know? Or
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
games like that, where it's obviously it's a challenge of your dexterousness, but it's also just sort of like it just kinda looks fun, and so you
Mhm.
wanna try it out, and indeed it is fun. Um, how much have you guys played this game at all? Have you ever won around? I'm curious.
We've
I've
won.
won, like, once,
Never
Yeah.
played it.
maybe. Yeah.
Me
Yeah.
and the kids won a couple times.
Nice.
I've made it through like I said, to the 3rd round so far, and I've probably attempted, I don't know, 10 times maybe. Um, but, yeah, it's cool. So, been playing Fall Guys, enjoying that. I think well worth giving it a shot, especially if you've got young ones or if you're throwing a party, and there's people that wanna play a video game for a few minutes.
Maybe a party
Yeah.
with young ones.
Yeah, your
I
birthday
mean,
party, whatever.
the thing that makes it fun, and I think we talked about this at some point in the past, but is that it makes it okay to fail all the time. Like
Mhm.
Also, the
some
fatalities are really gruesome and creative. I find it,
th-
you know,
there,
Mortal Kombat could learn a lot from.
there is something a little bit sinister about it. Like everybody's super happy, but they're also getting crushed by, like, so there's kind of that element to it as
The
well. So it's just
Squid
kind of
Game subtext.
yeah, a little bit
Like,
of
why are
that.
these guys? I want to know the dramatic reason why each of these beings is here.
Yeah, it's
I
a
thought
little
you
bit
were
dystopian.
financially stable. What are you doing?
Very nice.
Speaking of financially stable, GTA 5 I've been playing more of. And I got to the point where they introduced Trevor, and then you play a bunch of missions as Trevor before he heads to the city to, meet back up with his old friend Michael.
Hmm.
And that's the point where I'm at now. And yeah, it continues to be fun. I think one thing that they may have hit with this game that they might not have necessarily had before with GTA 4, although the DLC there was pretty fun, was that all the 100 types of little things they try to build into one of these games, all the, like, deer hunting mini games and all the, like, collecting celebrity trash mini games, and the I'm gonna find 50 secret jumps with my, with dirt bike sort of mini games. All that stuff is very much a case of a rising tide floats all boats, right? So, like, when the underlying game mechanics that encompass everything, the physics and all that stuff, as that gets better, then so too does everything that this game tries to do with it gets better, right? And I think overall it's probably still not to where I think it could be, or I'd like it to be, but it's higher, or it's closer to that goal than I think GTA 3 or GTA 4 was.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I think it's a better game. But not only that sense, I think also, so far at least, I think that the storytelling and the character building of at least the three main characters, I think they're doing a pretty decent job of that. What kind of I find a little bit discordant is the broad nature of the parody that they do with everything else. So, take Trevor for instance. Like, his lackeys that he hangs out with are, like, just way over the top, characteristically, like, redneck, and it's kind of an uncanny valley effect where you have this. I mean, Trevor himself is no, like, he's not like a super serious sort of character, uh but I would say that, like, Franklin and Michael, kind of, they're more serious, they're more, like, sort of grounded, where, like, everything going on around them is, like,
Yeah.
is way more dialed up. It's more like Laszlo on the radio. It's more like, everybody's like this weird Paris Hilton caricature on the city
Yes.
streets, and, that
Yep.
sort of thing. And
Yep.
I just think they really need to kind of work on harmonizing that, because, well, like I said, it's discordant. But it's also, I can understand a lot of the realities of a massive game with, like, hundreds of people working on it, and especially writers. Like, if you're writing for a game like this, you're going to focus most of your effort on the main thing. And then I think also, to some degree, it's kind of like what you get with, like, a Metal Gear also, is that, like, you're supposed to maybe kind of take the core elements of the story at, like, a different level of seriousness, or, canonicity, than the, like, outlying things, like in Metal Gear, you got Johnny Sasaki or whatever is, like, the stupid guard, that, like, he gets pantsed all the time or whatever.
Right.
Mhm.
And I kind of understand it from that perspective also, but all in all, I'd just like it to have, like, a, how they talk about, like, a polish pass for game development, like, have
Yeah.
a leveling or, like, a normalization pass for that sort of thing. But yeah, it's GTA 5. Also been playing more Doom. I'm playing, like, a mission or two of Doom every day. Um, I don't think I've ever actually played every single mission in Doom and Doom 2. I've played lots of them, but, like,
There's
not
so
all of
many
them.
though. There's a lot more than
Oh yeah, there's each game has 5 or 6 episodes with, what, 8 or 10 missions each. I know I've played a bunch of them, but, like, yeah, I certainly haven't played all of them. So I'm just kind
yeah.
of working through them. Like, I got a new controller. I bought a what is, I guess, now just the Xbox. Did the Xbox controller change between the one and the Series?
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
Well,
there's they added something different to it. I have an
The-
Xbox Series controller that I use.
Is
now.
that it? Kind of looks like the one that I just got. So
It's the same, but it's got like a little mini button down here in the middle.
Okay, yeah, that's what I have. All
Yeah.
right, so is that the newer one then? I mean,
That's the newer
I
one.
don't know. I was just kind of curious, but for
know
like
where
a
mine
decade
is.
now, I've been using that 360 pad forever. I finally upgraded it to a modern Xbox controller. I didn't know, however, that the old Wi-Fi dongle thing doesn't work with the new controller. So at the moment, I'm having to actually plug it in using a USB-C cable, which is fine. It's whatever. I went ahead and ordered the like $20 dongle, the newer dongle for the newer controller. But yeah, so far so good with the controller. It's it doesn't have the analog stick drift that my old one did. So yeah, Doom, it's good for that. Doom is just good. It has good sound effects, good music, good level design. And it just moves like a mother, like a million frames a second.
Quick.
Yeah, it's great. I love Doom. I love Quake. So pure. Such good demon slaying goodness.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It is.
Yeah.
And always has been.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's that.
Cool.
Real good. Well, let's see.
We have new releases.
What do we got? New
Yeah.
releases. Yeah, here. Let's
Final
do it.
Fantasy
Tech-gaming.com. Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker. Never heard of it. Halo
Infinite. Never heard of it.
Infinite.
Infinite.
But let's talk about Warhammer 40K Battle Sector coming out to consoles and
yeah.
Game Pass.
That's a good game. I played all the way through it.
See, there you go. Good game. Go
And
check it out.
it's getting actual DLC with like new units and stuff that you can add in your armies.
Nice. Yeah. So go back a few episodes. You can hear Dale talking about it. Games joining Game Pass in December. There's a few good ones on here. Stardew Valley, of course, Halo Infinite, Final Fantasy 13-2. Those are all out
pretty
now. With the exception to Infinite is not out until the 8th. Among Us coming to consoles December 14th. Lawn Mowing Simulator.
Play that after you finish unpacking. Like you got some more chores to do.
That's right. Just keep doing chores.
PC game
forever.
builder simulator.
Yep. Rad Switch, PC, Xbox game titles.com/PS4, Football Battle, and Happy's Humble Burger Farm. It's actually hard to say.
Happy's
Humble Burger Farm. No, I'm not saying it fast.
Every time you go to Happy's Humble Burger Farm, it's like, pay what you want, and it's like 50 different burgers, so you can never eat it all.
That's right. It's true. It's true. There's a bunch of
If you go in and you're over 350 pounds, you get to eat for free, though.
Ooh. Hey, so free and deals, etc. If you have Amazon Prime, hit up Twitch, the free Prime games or whatever. Some pretty cool ones in there this month. Football Manager 2021, if you like soccer. Frostpunk and Spellcaster University was actually a game I thought about buying not too long ago, so I'm going to pick that up and play it.
Wow.
And a ton of Monkey Island games. I think these are the Telltale games, though, right?
They are, yeah, the kind of more recent chapters. I also want to mention there's some DLC there. Fall Guys has, I always like, they're exclusive, so I like to be the one guy who's, wearing a Mastodon outfit. Or there's some League of Legends Wild Rift DLC on here, Legrand, if you're playing some of that.
Hey, there's some new Dauntless
DLC
stuff. A great axe you can get.
Yeah, like a little loot box or whatever. Yeah, so just go in there and check it out.
Anyway, yeah, that's it. That's it for the deals and freebies.
Very good. Well, out in the news, some big moving and shaking going on, at least some rumors of said moving and shaking. Bloomberg broke a story a little bit earlier this week that the thing that everybody in the world has been complaining about for months and months may be coming to a resolution. Sony is rumored to be rolling out a competitor service to Xbox Game Pass, which will be coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Currently, the code name for this purported service is called Spartacus.
The code name is who cares?
No. It's funny because it's like all the everyone stands up like, oh, I'm Spartacus. It's like a whole bunch of I guess I don't know. I assume they were going for like this multitudinous sort of thing, and it will offer games from the entire back catalog of Sony, which is like honestly kind of the one thing that they might be able to do. Is to offer not only new games but to go back to that classic back catalog. I see
if they can though. I mean, the difference between that and Microsoft is Microsoft's been doing that for a while now. Like Xbox One had Xbox original games playable on it, but when was the last time you played a PS1 game on your PS5?
Well, and it's kind of the same thing. Like everybody complains about like, oh, I want backward compatibility, but then you don't. But then it's kind of like nice to see it there.
So then
and you
what
play
back
the game for
catalog are
5
you looking
minutes.
for? PS4 games and PS5
I'm
games?
looking for the Vita games, which are not on this list. So they're going to offer PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and PSP games, which actually PSP is kind of an interesting direction to go with that. But yeah, they're doing that. So basically, what they would do. So this is the interesting part. So as we have sort of been discussing, PS Plus has been an ongoing service charge that you pay for. So this would basically combine the PlayStation Plus online multiplayer and then PlayStation Now. So this would sort of kind of do that cloud streaming thing that has recently been rolled out by Microsoft, and Sony kind of has been doing it, although it's been a separate paid service, which has been sort of a big detraction, I think, from that service.
Sure.
So actually, let me see here. So it actually is PS1, PS2, PS3.
Well,
and
to be fair,
PlayStation Portable.
xCloud is a paid service as well. You have to have Ultimate.
Yeah, that's true. It's an extra
Fair enough.
what would that be? $5 a month or whatever for the Ultimate.
Yeah. I think so.
So the next question is, what'll it cost? And we don't really know. Right now, it's like $50.
It'll be the
year
same
for
price as
PS Plus.
Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, that's probably a safe bet. So we don't know much about this, but rumors are flying that we will learn more about this come spring of 2022. So I'm waiting to see my PS Plus subscription ends in June, I think, and
Yeah, mine is in like August, I think.
like it's kind of nice to have, and I do like share play sometimes and some of those options, but I don't like it. Like I used to be really happy to pay, for kind of like I'm happy now to I don't know though. Like it's expensive. So I don't know. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see what Sony rolls out on this. Right now, it's all just rumors and innuendos and such. Some shakeups going on over at the DICE studio, which is, Legrand's been talking about Battlefield 2042, which has been so awesome that he's actually unsubscribed from the
Unsubscribed.
I think they blew it.
unsubscribed. Yeah. Well, they're starting to shuffle some people around there at DICE. So Vince Sampella, who was formerly at Respawn, a founder of Respawn Entertainment, is now taking the reins to oversee the Battlefield franchise going forward. And then a man named Marcus Leto, who is a co-creator of Halo, actually, and is head of a new EA development
I think
studio.
he was the
is going to-
designer of Halo. He created Master Chief. He was like a pretty big deal in the Halo.
I mean, that's pretty good,
beginning.
except being the designer of Master Chief is actually not a real benefit. Like, it's like I put some BMX helmets on this guy. So
I mean,
I don't know.
he was instrumental in creating Halo. How about that?
Hey, yeah,
Co-creator
and
of
hey,
Halo is a big
yeah.
deal.
Yeah, that's true.
Regardless of what he did,
That is true. That is true. EA said to GameSpot that they are working to building a connected Battlefield universe, which I'm not 100% sure what that means. I think they need to get-
Metaverse with NFT guns. That's what it
Yeah,
means.
I think they need to get their mouse controls working first. Like, I would have been interested to see Vince
That'd be
Sampella
freaking
comments on
great.
that. Yeah, wouldn't that be awesome? So I guess, we'll see some new information on this, I guess, going forward. But we're right as far as this podcast goes. Like, we're tapped out on Battlefield for the foreseeable future until some major
Back
things
to
happen.
Battlefield
I'm gonna go play
1942.
Battlefield. I'm gonna go play Battlefield 5.
Oh
somewhere.
man, you know what? I'll play Battlefield Bad Company. How about that?
Oh,
We'll-
Dude, that was such a
Bad
good
company
game.
too.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm.
It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
We reported a couple weeks ago that the Federal Trade Commission, the US FTC, was kind of looking askance at some dealings by NVIDIA to purchase the UK-based chip manufacturer and supplier ARM
Yeah, that's a
Limited.
no-go.
Yeah, they're not having it at this point. So the FTC is suing NVIDIA to prevent this merger. The FTC says that the merger would result in competitive harm in 3 global markets, including high-level advanced driver assistance systems for passenger cars, which I didn't see that one coming, but also DPU smart NICs, which are advanced networking products to increase security and efficiency of data center servers. I didn't see that one coming either, as well as ARM-based CPUs for cloud computing service providers. which I was expecting them to say something about graphics or something. I don't know, but they didn't seem to care about those things. So the lawsuit alleges that the acquisition gives NVIDIA access to competitors' trade secrets, which normally they have to give to ARM in order to make their products interface with the ARM processors. And so yeah, I guess this may not be going ahead. I mean, once the FTC makes a decision like this, I'm not sure that it seems like it's rare that you can come back from that and prove to them that that's not going to be the case. So anyhow, NVIDIA says that they'll continue to work.
I don't
to
know enough
demonstrate...
about ARM to like weigh in on this, really. Like,
I mean, I guess
aren't they in like everything these days?
Yeah,
well, I guess that's what I'm
but
saying is that the variety of things that the FTC has said. I mean, I think that at least speaks a little bit to kind of what's going on here. Is that there's so many little vectors for potential badness that they just don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah. So for anyone who isn't aware, that when there's mergers, the U.S. government, this is how they go to block those, to uphold
usually
the
a big
antitrust
merger
laws.
has to be approved by the FTC, anyways, right? Like,
Yeah,
in general.
there's a couple of departments in the government that have to approve it, and if they don't approve it, it's a lawsuit that they file to prevent it. So this is like normal process. It's not like some big thing, but
It's like if Microsoft tried to buy Apple or vice versa.
Right.
Would be
the FTC might sue them, or another government organization would sue them, and that's the normal process. So just in case anyone was curious, that it's like, oh my gosh, it's just like legal action. It's pretty normal. Obviously, it's not what NVIDIA wants. They want to buy ARM, so
yeah,
they'll have to prove that it doesn't violate antitrust regulation.
Yeah, exactly. It's part of the broader tapestry of antitrust legislation and regulation, basically, is what's happening there.
Anyway.
Here's something from the Legrand file. Hunt Showdown is getting a TV series that will not be about jump scares. It's gonna, I don't know, it's gonna be about like shooting some monsters, maybe shooting some people, something like that.
They've actually created quite a bit of lore surrounding Hunt Showdown. There's a whole Discord channel on their Discord dedicated to people talking about the story behind Hunt Showdown.
Oh, that's
there's a lot of tidbits in the game where if you go and read through like the whatever you want to call it, the codex, I don't know, whatever you want to call it in the game. You know what I mean? Like that, those types of things. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff you can read about the story and all the characters they put into the game have their own backstories and stuff like that. So I don't know.
I think it would actually.
In between rounds?
What was that?
You ever read that stuff in between rounds?
The stuff that tells you how to play the game better?
The lore, the codex.
No. I've not read any of that.
I actually think that this could work out really well if they make the TV show to be kind of like, if you imagine it the other way around, where there was a TV show first and then they kind of make a game that's like, well, that's not like the TV show. This is just a bunch of shooting and running around. Like if they sort of extrapolated all of that stuff into something where it's nothing like the game.
Well, that's what you got to do is you got to take the setting and you got to take the setting and the main core story and then do whatever you want.
Fabricate something. Yeah.
The game is not a narrative-driven game, so take the cool setting and take the Bayou in the 1895.
Yep.
And with monsters that people are being hired to hunt these monsters and make a story out of it. I don't know.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah,
totally agreed.
Cool. Who knows?
So as far as where this is going to show up, I don't know if we have that information, but anyway, I'm sure we'll report on it as we learn more here. As it was mentioned a little bit earlier, Halo Infinite is out this season, and the multiplayer has already been on for a couple, 3 weeks now. But Halo Infinite players on Xbox seem to want to opt out of crossplay to avoid not just the mouse and keyboard people on PC, but specifically the cheating, just like Dale says. And it's just kind of the way things go. Like you release a multiplayer game, and people are going to try and find ways to do wall hacks and aim bots and all those kinds of things. And there's apparently been enough of it that it's kind of raised a little bit of an outcry from the Halo community here. We've got videos being posted to Reddit. Everybody's just kind of trying to do this grassroots effort to have everybody opt out of crossplay to send a message to Microsoft, I guess, to kind of fix things, or even just to protect their own interests to have fun playing a multiplayer game online.
It's kind of a shame.
It is a little bit, and I guess they, the community has essentially said that they want to be able to turn off which actually right now, I don't know. Do you have the option to do it? I guess it might not even be something that you could do right at the moment. So I guess the demand is being made that that Bungie should, or sorry, not Bungie, 343 Studios, I guess, is that who that is? Should be allowing people to kind of make that decision so that they're not subject to that. So I guess we'll kind of have to see. Like Legrand said, I think earlier in the show, the single player campaign is coming out, I think, this week. So you'll have something
8th
to
or
do
9th, I think.
Yeah, you'll have something to do other than just play multiplayer. So I'm actually going to maybe be kind of interested in that. I don't know. Halo doesn't really, doesn't really do it for me, I guess, typically.
The action is a little slower paced in Halo games. When it seems like it should be faster.
Yeah. And guys, that's going to do it for our main news segment, but we have a bunch of good stuff here in the speed run. Start that music.
I refuse to start that music.
Legrand.
I'll start it out. Quake, the original Quake, just got an update. The remastered game just got an update. They got a horde mode, guys. So if you were waiting for some reason to go back and play Quake,
I was
horde mode.
Nice.
That is kind of cool, though, that they would
Is it
patch something that came. I don't know. I think so. Like the fact that horde mode didn't exist until like Gears of War 2 or something like that.
Earlier in this podcast, I said I love Quake, and I do. So
wow,
check that out.
Games as a service to the extreme.
Yep.
The Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Definitive Edition still doesn't work right. Still, things are broken. Still, things are bad. And even though Rockstar has said that they're going to be releasing the original versions, it just ain't going right. Their Switch version is coming out instead of, the Xbox and PlayStation versions are being pushed back. The physical editions, and then the Nintendo Switch version is now coming in early 2022. So that train has derailed a little bit.
Too bad that they messed that up so bad. Well, Activision Blizzard will not be a part of the Game Awards, according to Jeff Keighley. I wonder if that's just because Diablo 2 Remastered has not lived up to their standards.
Probably that's
definitely
the reason.
Mm-hmm. It's an old game. It was already won its awards. Final Fantasy 14 players will get free game time due to congestion.
How much game time, Legrand? What's the?
They said a minimum of 7 days. And
wow,
they'll evaluate. They haven't said when or why or how, but yeah,
that's fine.
Interesting.
Quake Remastered.
Jeez, Legrand, you're really interested in Quake.
Did you like organize these in such a way that I had all these Quake ones? Quake Remastered's second update. What is this? Who put this on here?
Skip it.
Well, I didn't touch this one.
I put the first one on there. Who put the second one on there? Okay, Take-Two Interactive. Suze. I don't even. I'm not reading this one. Apex Legends director Chad Grenier is departing Respawn. So the guy who's over Apex Legends is
the guy who's Vince Zampella has taken his job. The one that Legrand wouldn't do. Take-Two Interactive has sued Hazelight Studios, who
I couldn't even the It Takes Two game. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, the It Takes Two.
Read your headline.
Yeah, no. Well, you click on it and it makes sense.
You should have put It Takes Two in quotes, because
it's the lightning round. Nobody clicks on these.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyhow, so it's interesting because I don't know. It might be kind of a frivolous lawsuit, but Hazelight has basically abandoned the name of their game, and it's just as a little side note, it voted real high on the Jeff Keighley's.
They're suing it because it's called It Takes Two, and their studio's called Take Two.
Take Two,
off, dude.
They're gonna have to call it
exactly.
Hazelight It Takes Two video game.
Yeah. Anyway, I just as a side
I'm gonna release
note,
a video game called EA Sports. Sports.
Sports.
Sports. EAT. Eat Sports.
You know who's not going to have to worry about the title of their game? Respawn Entertainment. If the name of the game is Titanfall, because
done,
it just got killed. It got destroyed, taken out behind the woodshed and decapitated.
Oh man!
With a
I guess they're tired of like
Making me
chasing down
sad.
cheaters and the DDoS that people keep DDoSing Titanfall 1, I guess. Is that
Yep.
the story behind this?
Give the people what they want, which is no Titanfall, I guess.
They're sending people
give
to
them
bed
play
without dinner.
Titanfall 2. It's a better game anyways. Like,
That's true.
whatever.
It's true. Also a better game. I don't know. Metroid Dread developer now working on a dark fantasy RPG.
Oh, that's good. Mercury Steam also did the Castlevania
Lords of Shadow.
Lords of Shadow. Yeah, that's right. So
My
that
dude.
could turn out pretty good.
There you have it.
Valve has confirmed that there will be no Steam Deck exclusive games, which makes sense. But
It's just yeah.
somebody wanted to know, like, hey, is Half-Life Alyx Part 2 going to be exclusive to Steam Deck? And,
wouldn't that be cool if, listen though,
dog.
in an alternate universe, like, wouldn't that actually be kind of like a cool selling point for it? Like if they made some Half-Life Alyx sort of thing and it was only
Steam doesn't care where you
How
play
many
their
people
games.
bought VR to play Half-Life Alyx?
A lot of people.
Did people buy VR or did they just have it?
I bet people bought VR to play Half-Life Alyx.
All right,
I
maybe
bet 3 people bought VR to play.
There's probably some hardcore. We know that there are definitely Half-Life diehards out there. There's probably at least a few of them that only bought VR to play Alyx.
I know people that upgraded their VR to play Half-Life Alyx better.
Okay.
How about that?
But they were already in on VR. Yeah. Anyway.
Speaking of improbable upgrades, Titan Quest, which has been around since the ancient Stone Age, is getting
ancient Greece.
Another timely expansion, Titan Quest Eternal Embers, which is sort of a Chinese-themed thing.
Fun
That's it.
fact, Titan Quest actually came out the day before Ultima Online.
It did not. You
No, I'll allow it. It's fact.
Xbox Game Pass players are going to get special Halo Infinite multiplayer bonuses and perks, like 12 XP or something, probably. I hear that game's very stingy.
The way I read this is that they actively don't want people to pay for the game. Like, they would rather just have you subscribe to Game Pass.
Because then they gotcha.
Hey, when I logged into Battlefield 2042, they gave me free stuff for being part of EA Play.
Well, you know what? Speaking of Battlefield 2042, there are apparently fewer players playing it than Farming Simulator 2022, according to Game Informer.
Wow.
Cool.
You know what? You could actually get a pretty good mod game of Battlefield going in Farming Simulator if you
really imagine.
All right.
I don't know.
In classic speedrun fashion, I'm going to read this next headline that Jeremy no doubt wrote, just the way that the headline is presented. Swarovski creates Halo/Master Chief crystals. You can only win them, no buy. That's
no
it.
buy.
That's
no
the
buy.
end. Take us out.
That's
Only
it.
win them.
That's it. Folks, that is the end of our speedrun. That's the end of this podcast. Thank you very much for being with us. Thank you to my co-hosts. Yeah, it's good times here on the Game Bytes Show podcast. If you like anything that we've talked about and want to comment on it, you can reach out to us on social media. Tell us either something that you liked about what we played, or if you want to share what you played. You can find us on Twitter collectively. We are at Game Bytes Show on Twitter. You can also reach out to us individually. I am at Jeremy_Lamont.
You can find me at Legrand.
I am at Count Elmdor.
I'm at Red_I.
You can also find us on YouTube. If you're watching this live, you know what's up. If you're not watching us live, you don't know what's up. But you can know what's up. You can go to youtube.com/GameByteShow, click on that alarm bell, hit the subscribe button.
Yeah,
probably not in that order. I think you do it in the other order.
Who knows? Who knows?
Just come hang out with us because we're fun guys, and we'll talk to you while we're doing this thing. You can also find us at GameByteShow.com, where you can find a link to all of our back catalog of podcasts. Lots of good stuff back there in the catalog. Hit the randomizer. Do a roulette and tell us what you listened to and what you loved about it. Try
Podcast
that.
Russian roulette.
See how that goes. You can also find a link to our Discord server there where you can come and join us and hang out with us on any given day and type something at us, like in the olden days when they used text.
Write us a letter on the internet.
And put a little cologne or perfume on there and send it on over.
You know what? I'm going to issue a quest. Someone should join our Discord, go find the Robot Dale episode and tell us what number it was.
Oh, yeah.
There are a couple of them. There's
more than one.
Yeah.
Go find one.
I store that thing in the basement now. I don't know where that thing is.
He is Dale Jones.
He is. Folks, that is going to do it for this episode of the Game Bytes Show podcast. We'll be back next week to inform, to entertain, and to edify you with news of video games, new releases, all kinds of good discussion. Until then, this has been your show. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.